A book almost 5 years in the making, Cyberpunk Red's successor to the Chrome book, Black Chrome, lives up to the name. Released on February 27th, the book saw a few delays, but now people can finally get their hands on it. Hi, I'm Dice, and yes, this is going to be a quick little review and rundown about what to find in the book, from layout to even a little bit about the goodies inside. This is just going to be going over the PDF version, as I was provided a review copy. Easy to believe since I've been releasing the items for you to take a peek at one at a time before launch so far. So if you want to see those, I'll have a link to them above and down below in the description too. And while yes, I am a big fan of Cyberpunk Red, I'm going to be unbiased in this review. I'm going to be straightforward, and I'm going to say exactly what I felt as I was going through this book. Enough chatter though, let's get into it. To touch briefly on what Black Chrome is, Black Chrome features clothing, gear, weapons, vehicles, cyberware, and it features it all in excess. As the title page says, it has over 170 items. It is not exaggerating with that. The selection here is almost overwhelming, and it does fill in a ton of gaps that are in the initial core rulebook. It also comes with a few new rules, confirmations by items existing, and even some things people were expecting. One of the new rules is exclusive to nomads too, giving them a new feature called Nomad Access. Other things touch on keywords that can help identify newer features of items like the combination keyword, thrown weapon, armor appearing as fashion. It does add in a lot more new layers. The book also comes packing some lore for most of the newer weapons and items too. I'll go into that more a bit later. We're now going to take this one bit at a time, section by section. First thing I want to talk about is the layout itself. If you go back and watch my original Cyberpunk Red rundown almost 6 months ago, my gripe back then was the layout of the core rulebook. That ain't an issue here, at all. To start with, Black Chrome is designed to be in-world. It's built from the ground up to be an app for agents, a superphone that all characters use in Red, and it calls itself the C-Book, spelled out CBK. This app is effectively a library for whenever players arrive at a night market. It connects to a fixer's central agent, the one putting on the show, and it shows them the inventory of the entire place, including the ability to remotely buy items at any booth. That's at least the in-lore version of this, but that's because you're actually supposed to hand this book over to your players as they shop using it. To go even further, Black Chrome features hyperlink work in the PDF to a degree that I have not seen yet in a tabletop game. Almost every single thing is clickable, and will take you to the corresponding page, item, info, you name it. Whenever I was first given the book, this was the main thing to blow me away and honestly is the best feature about this book in my eyes. It's an example for other tabletop games to follow, if they are also in the high-tech sphere. This PDF feels right to give players on a tablet or something and just let them go nuts. Each section covers exactly what it claims, and even at the top of the page, there are categories you can click and hop to the section you want to, reducing flipping around to find the right page to a minimum. Overall, this is an insanely good layout, and I've not seen a PDF used like this before personally. I dig it. It fits the vibe of being an app you buy items from, even down to the annoying little pop-up ads. Yes, this book actually has internal pop-up ads. You'll see what I mean. On now though, to the art. The art has been the cause of Black Chrome's delays. That's pretty much common knowledge for people who've been asking about it, but once you have your hands on it, you do see why. The writers were not kidding when they said almost every single item has accompanying art. There are pieces from multiple artists, some going down the hyper-realistic route to some being more hand-drawn, but all are up to par. This gives the book a vibe of multiple sellers having a hand in each item, showing off their items in the way that they want to. So it does lend itself again to the general app design of being at a night market. One of the only 2 times I found something I didn't like in the book was literally a single frame of art, and it was purely because it was not to my own taste. The artists and their styles are as eclectic as the world they're coming from. And I'm hoping what I'm being showing here so far is going to give you an idea of how diverse the collection really is. We go from 8-bit pixel to hyperrealism. They've done a solid job giving you good examples of how things do look in the universe too, like those linear frames everyone always debates about appearance over. Now, the content of the book itself. I can't think of a better way to put it than there is a ton of new items. Apps, weapons, vehicles, clothing, even food and ways to get city net in the Badlands, and clothing bags that auto-repair your armor. From some that are so scary that I dread my players getting to them, to some like the Tommyknocker and the Cleaver that are absurd to the point of hilarity. That's what Black Chrome is. It's a gear book. It's not a lore and adventure book like Tales of the Red. which, while featuring adventures for players, it was also packed heavy on lore and location information that you as a GM could draw on. Black Chrome does keep a focus on items, but towards the back, you're going to find some interesting extra stuff. The economy section, as well as information on night markets, taps into the Dark Future's way of life in a manner that Tales didn't, and the core rulebook only gave general terms on. You get multiple fixers, fully statted out with art profiles with maps of their night markets, and even locations of where certain items would be there. You get expanded lifestyle information, supply and demand, and answers on how to make things move a bit smoother from the world itself into your players' hands. For a gear and fashion book, Black Chrome brings with it answers that a lot of folks have been asking questions for if they're willing to dig in and look. Some items have just small little bits of information, while some have lore that takes up an entire page. There's some items in this book that could literally make their own campaign and story just around that one thing. I also have to add in an appreciation to the focus of making a bunch of things that don't really exist to be overpowered, but really fit into the satire theme of the entire world. It's good to have items that are actually fun, not just, here's a big chunk of thing, here's the high numbers of thing, go kill bunch of thing with it. You know, it's nice to have something silly every now and then too. That's one of my favorite parts about this game. If you take it too seriously all the time, it really just is too grimdark for you to really take. You gotta have some laughs in it too. Now, I did have two gripes about the book. One I mentioned earlier, with that single art piece, and the other is literally just numbering on a page. After sitting with Black Chrome now for as long as I have, and finding only those two very minor petty things says a lot about the work that has went into this thing. And both of those things were personal. They weren't really flaws of the book. Reading through, you're going to find a lot of little hints that the writers were having fun when they were making this. And while it took a little bit of time to get into our hands, it's very clear none of that time was wasted. It's a real well-made book, if I can really even call it that. The function of it is still very unique to me in PDF form. If this is the quality that our Talsorian Games aims to keep as a standard, I can't wait for Danger Gal Dossier and beyond. I hope you all enjoy it, and it actually has been very humbling the past couple weeks to provide previews for you too for this. And for the writers of this book, good job, y'all. This is actually really good. This actually tops the release of some of my favorite books and other games that I've played. It's just really cool. I don't really have a better way to put it for people. Take care, everyone, and I hope you find yourselves a good table.